How to budget. Hi. This is a video intended for mainly my friends, my colleagues, my peeps. Um, but this could be information good for anybody. Um, my name is David. If you don't know, I am in no way an expert on budgeting or money or accounting. I don't know. What I have done though is worked out a budgeting system that really works for me. Um, it's been very successful. Successful meaning that I was able to track my spending accurately and plan and execute plans and reach goals and in the end just take more control over my own finances. So it works for me and it may work for others. So I was here to share it. And I actually have done this kind of work with other people. I sat them down. I showed them my budgeting template, and I was like, just walked them through the process, like how I do it, how to kind of like organize it, and then make a plan based off of it, make a monthly plan. And people have been saying it's been really helpful, and especially now during current circumstances, I think it's more important than ever that people just know how to budget and budget effectively, especially with just like maybe limited incomes and or situations are changing and such. So, anywho, we're going to walk you through the budget template that was designed by my girlfriend and I. Well, mainly she designed it, but it looks beautiful. It's color coded and everything. So wait, what are we going to do? What are the goals? We're going to walk you through this budget. We're going to show you how to organize yourself, how the categories work, how the charts work, how to build a plan. I'm going to talk to you about the stuff you have to do, the kind of homework you have to do to get your past months figured out and to make an accurate plan for the future. And yeah, just we'll talk a little bit about the benefits of what this can do for you. Immediately, a lot of people might say, well, there's also budgeting apps. Like you could get like Mint or any of the other apps that you can set budgets and it'll give you notifications and all that. Whatever. Thing is, for me, I wasn't able to stick to it. Like you have to be on it to be like, cool, everything, some things you'd swipe and it would be like, oh, this is a restaurant. It wasn't really a restaurant. It was, going out to a bar or something. And so it's more like getting drinks. It was different. And so there was constantly this kind of like editing of categories where with the system I'm about to show you, you make your own categories and you input it as soon as you've spent something. You kind of do it like maybe a daily or every other day, maybe even weekly checkup on yourself to manage your own budget. And I think the hands-on aspect of this budget makes it more actionable. It makes it more effective. Where with the apps, I know I got more lazy with it. I wasn't as attentive to it. And I think that could be true for other people too. So anyway, yeah, apps have their purpose for some people. And I think for some situations, it's better to be hands-on and get into it. So let's get into it. This is my budget. The colors are beautiful. It's designed by my girlfriend and, but the categories are effective and let's get into it. There's a lot going on right now. We'll break it down. First things first, let's start from the top left. Right up. Oh, I have a mouse. I'm not used to this. This is cool. So the plan for this budget is to be a monthly budget. So right in this category has already been programmed a calendar. You can double click on it and you can change your calendars and stuff. Whoa, I'm getting ahead of myself. Stop. First things first. This is a Google Drive. This is a Google Drive, Google Sheet. All right. It has functions. As you put in numbers, it'll change certain values and such. First things first, I want this to be an interactive video as best as we can. So this sheet will be posted in the description of the video. So you can link right to it. It'll bring you to this sheet that I'm working on literally right now. But first things first, don't edit this sheet. Go to File right up here in the top left corner. Go down to Make a Copy. Making a copy, it'll pop up this little thing. You can save it to My Drive. You can call it whatever you want, like Jack's, what are we in? February budget. whatever. You can call it whatever you want. I suggest monthly though, like organizing these by monthly, because then every month, like, March and April, whatever, you will make a copy and do it again and do this process every month. Every month you edit your budget. So yeah, when you make a copy, just copy here, name, month, budget. There we go. Save it to your drive. You don't have to share it with nobody. Press OK, and it will literally make a new sheet for you that we can edit on. So hopefully you'll edit yours while I work on this. Just pause the video whenever you need to do the work. But anyway, I think it'd be better if we were all working on it together. I'm all caffeinated up. Sorry. Whew. Okay. Where are we at? So we're in the month. It's March right now, but I'm looking at February. Why? We'll get to that later. Point is, you can look at this month, you can edit it through, and now we're in April, and it's just a fun little thing. Set it on the month that we're working on. We're currently in March. Let's just pretend we're in February right now, because it's kind of easier to look back on the month you had, a completed month, versus looking back on a half-finished month. Let's start from the left now. These are the kind. We just put the kind here. You can call it whatever you want. These are the categories. We have your income box up top in the green, your expenses here in the blue, and savings down here in the purple. And down here in the very bottom is the total, and that's going to everything tallied up. Your income minus your expenses minus your savings. Okay, and I also should mention this. For a lot of people, this is going to be budgeting 101. This is going to be maybe stuff you already know. Thing is, I only just started actively budgeting maybe 2 years ago, not even. And it's not out of like, the information wasn't as readily available. I mean, I'm sure some budgeting was covered in school, but not to the emphasis that is needed for our adult lives and the, economic situation we are in, especially now. So this can be a refresher for some. It can be brand new information for others. And if you already know it, then maybe this is just a nice way to organize information. But regardless, you'd be surprised how unfamiliar this is for most people. So we're going through it. This is kind of budgeting 101. Budgeting is to, have more money at the end of the month than you started with, or at least properly managing your money. The ideal situation is actually right down here at the bottom. It says income minus expenses minus savings. So you're making some money. Hopefully you spend less money than you just made, and you also have a little bit you can put into savings. And after you've made some money, and then you spent a little money, and you put a little money away, you still have some money left over. A budget for these purposes, a personal budget, does not have to equal zero, like zeroing it out as some, other practices may be. This one's, hopefully we're making not just saving is the only place you can like grow money. So yeah, first things first, you're making money. You want to spend a little bit less than you're making. Hopefully you're putting some away in savings. And after all those, expenses, I'm like pointing at the computer. I'm gonna use my mouse. After all your expenses and your savings, you should have some money left over, based off the money you made. So yeah, let's get into it. By the way, this is not scripted. I'm just like, I was like, I need to do this. I'm set up to do this. I'm gonna do it. So bear with me. So you got your income. There's a nice little amount of money. Oh wait. Jumping ahead of myself. So we got our income categories. So hourly income, if you're hourly, salary, you can just pop whatever it is. Other income, like let's say you got an Etsy shop, or you're doing music lessons, or you have some other like side hustle, that can go there. I like to keep them separate. I also don't like to include things like the PFD, only because that's not like money you should really be planning for. That's not money you should budget around. If it is, you might be in a different situation that maybe takes more like professional assessment. But for now, budget off the money you can expect. Budget off the regular money, income. So let's see. You've edited the sheet. By the way, if you ever need more categories, let's say you have like 3 side hustles. Just right click on, like, if you want another row right beneath this other income, go to the number of the row you're on, right click, and go down, insert one below or insert one above, doesn't really matter. Or here's also where you can delete rows. But if I inserted one below, it's going to create the same exact color scheme and function of the one above it. So here I can be like Etsy shop, whatever. And this one I budgeted, I might make, $100. And then here, let's say I made $100. Anyway, we'll get to that. So anyway, so that's how you can add more categories. It'll especially come into use down here in the categories, because this is, I'm sure, is going to change for everybody. It's going to have some stuff different. So there's going to be a lot of, right clicking. What did I do? Right clicking, insert one below or insert one above. There's that. Cool. Let's delete Etsy. Sorry. I don't have, oh shoot. Messing things up. Okay, so that's our income. We have these little categories based on the income you have. You can change this to say salary or whatever. Now we're in expenses. So for expenses, all the things at the top, I would like to categorize as like set in stone expenses. So expenses that are not going to change. Things you can always rely on to be the same amount every month and are pretty important. Not just like your, like Netflix is the same every month, but so is maybe your rent. Like these are for things that are not just the same every month, but are kind of more vital, that fall under the like shelter category. Shelter and health, let's say. Food is a bit around there. Anyway, so we have mortgage, rent, gas, electric, water, trash. You could lump those into call it utilities depending on your situation. Internet, car insurance, home insurance, credit card debt. These are all things consistently you'll need to be paying for. And I think we can all edit these as we see fit. By the way, this format you're looking at right now is not my personal one. This is just the general template of it. I've already edited it to kind of remove my information just for some privacy. These numbers I just threw in there. They're random. I based the hourly income off of just like a fairly somewhat average, I don't know. I did kind of like a random minimum wage plus tips calculation for a month's worth of pay. Maybe not. Maybe it goes up or down. Like let's even go make it, I don't know, 1,100, 1,200, whatever. Doesn't matter. Point is put in your monthly amount. But we'll get to there. So yeah, this category from here to here are set in stone expenditures. We can feel free to edit those as you see fit. But then we get into something that's a bit more flexible, like groceries. Sometimes maybe changes every month. Car fuel and maintenance. So that's like the gas for your car. Also, I put maintenance there just to keep track of like things happen. You have to replace, something, get oil, whatever. Dining in cafes, that's eating out at restaurants and stuff, or maybe ordering to go. Alcohol is a separate category. We'll get into that separate secondly. So, later. But I like to leave it as a separate category just because you'll see later. When we reassess these two, they often need to be separated. Entertainment, it could be going to the movies, could be renting a movie, going to a show, going to see a sports thing, like anything that's more auxiliary. Clothes and toiletries, you can make this two separate categories if that's more your style. Excuse me. Yeah. Just general, I guess that would be like person maintenance. Puppy care, that's like I have a pet. You could just put pets. You can put whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Subscriptions, we all generally have subscriptions to something or other. It could be a news, thing, or your Netflixes, or, something for work. Whatever it is, goes in here. Healthcare, maybe you have a prescription or something that you need filled, or you go to an appointment and it's a appointment, like $25 per appointment or something. This is where that category would go. House care is like general house needs, like you change the light bulb or whatever, or your whatever. And then other, classic other. That covers most of your expenses. If there's other things that apply to you, or if you have kids or something, it might get it might become more in depth. You just need to edit it as you see fit by right clicking and insert row. Down here is savings. In the purple area is savings. We have right now a security savings. I'm going to get to that later. This budget is also based off of two assumptions, okay? two assumptions, is that you have a checkings account and you have a savings account. Those are it. If you don't have those, again, I'm not an expert. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do. I'm just going to show what works for me, and that's it. I'm just showing off, not showing, showing off. I'm showing what's working for me. If you think it might work for you, then, reach out to the proper people and seek advice and ask around. Like ask a bank teller or a financial advisor, something like that. Anyway, where was I? Right. You have a savings account and a checking. So hopefully you have a savings account for this model, and this is where your money would go for savings. It is a separate thing. We'll get to that later. And down here is a full tallied thing of what we're looking for. So the way this budget works is, let's say we have a total amount of money. Ooh, that function's not working. That's not good. Hold on. Ooh, let me pause the video. Okay. I fixed it. I don't know what happened. That was weird. Life's not perfect. Neither am I. But we're back. Okay, so now the functions are here. Where was I? Right. So as you, let's say, made more money, let's say you had another income, you'll add 200 here to maybe you make, and now your total that you've made this month is 1,500. The functions, anyway, go this way as well, and that 1,500 changes your income down here. This is a function of your income at B6, minus expenses, minus savings. Anywho, so, there we have it. Where was I? I had to spend just 10 minutes figuring out what happened to the functions, and now I'm off. Anyway, so we have these categories. Oh, good. We'll just go next over. So now in this row here, we have your budgeted amount. Budgeted amount is your plan. Okay. That's not exactly what you're making. That's what you hope. That's what your best case scenario is, or at least what your plan of action is. This first column is the plan. And, it's pretty important to try to follow this as best you can. But so let's see, we have your hourly income. Let's say you plan to make 200 from your side hustle, and you make about 1,300 a month from your regular job. You make about 1,500 a month, maybe on the average. Then you go in and put in your expenses. And again, these were all just kind of random. I just threw numbers together. This is maybe playing with a person who's working a minimum wage job, and they also rent and have some roommates. That could maybe potentially be a realistic outcome or outline. So let's play with it. We have your rent should be, what your rent is. So just put in the actual amount there. Utilities, you can lump this into one and call it utilities and get rid of 4 rows. Or if you have to pay things separately, just put in their desired amount there. Trash, internet. If you split internet, if you have insurances, add rows and take away things as needed. But anyway, put in the amounts, and also keep the sections in bold if they are regular. And then make a guesstimate on how much you pay per month. I almost want to pause here by going into this. How do you know how much you spend on something per month? When I do this process with someone in person, it's a much longer process. It takes about 4 hours to do. Not all the time. Sometimes 2 or 3, but it depends on how detailed you want to get. The process here is going back through your bank statements, okay? Your credit card statements, anything that is a track of your money, and just, searching from February 1st to the end of February and see what you bought, and go from each purchased item along the transaction list and input it somewhere. I start with a clean slate, and I do that I don't do that every month now, but if someone was doing this for the first time, that's what I would suggest for you. So we're currently in March. I would suggest going into February. Okay. And by the way, because of the current, economic situation we're in with people losing jobs, these last few months might not be the best to base a budget on. You might want to go back as far as even over into this corner, I have January, February, March. Maybe go back to November, December, January to get a running thing. But it's not necessary to go that far back. But at least like a month or two back would be good to start showing what kind of patterns you have, because you can't just say like, oh, I make on paper $2,000 a month. Well, if in actuality, in those actual, December, January, February, you only brought in about 1,500, well, then you should really adjust your mindset about that. Like, you're probably not pulling in 2,000, and you need to be more realistic. So anyway, that's what you look back in your bank statements, you look back in your credit card, whatever, and see what you're actually spending. And this is not a time to try to adjust or like fib on anything. You're not trying to impress anybody. Just put down the actual number that's there. Put down real numbers, and be honest with yourself. Like, oh, I did spend this much, great. And don't even, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel, the moment you start reflecting in your bank statements, hold on, this thing's just off a little bit. In your credit card statements, I've been there. A lot of my friends have been there. It's a shocking experience. It's going to be like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Oh my God, I'm spending so much money on X, Y, and Z, and it sucks. And I wish I didn't, but you are, and it's okay. And so was I. Until I got like looking at it every month and actively inputting my budget every day, and it got better. So there we go. Like I was saying, this is your budgeted amount category. It's kind of like the plan of action. So maybe if you're going through and you're reassessing all of your and you're reassessing all the things you purchased and all the money you made, I just leave all these categories. This is what a fresh month should look like, okay? So you're starting February, or we're going to go back and we're going to build off of maybe February or January. I would go back and look at my bank statements. Do you have direct deposit? Put in what you made there. Do you have tip, more like tip money? Make sure you keep account of that. I don't work in a tipped position right now, but I did for a very long time. I did when I actually started making this budget, and I made a rule to myself to never spend cash if I couldn't help it. I actually used to have a cash place down here for when I did. I would mark it. I'd be able to mark it. All of my cash I saved up to the end of the week and brought it to the bank. I treated it like another paycheck. All things I wanted in the bank. So then by when I was like reassessing my bank statements, I had a record of it. So like, oh, okay, I got a paycheck. Great. And then I got another paycheck. Now it equals this. Oh, I got some tip money, whatever. In the end, if you reach about whatever your actual amount is, let's say in February I made, doesn't matter, I made that much. Great. Oh, and my side hustle actually, I don't know, did pretty good. We actually made like $340. I don't know. Cool. If I calculate all the things I made in February, there's my total income. That's what I actually brought in. This was the plan. The plan was 1,500. Did a little better than I thought. That's cool. Like, just be honest with yourself. What happens? And then I start working my way down. So I'm checking bank statements. I'm checking credit cards, right? Cool. 400. It's set in stone. Keep moving. Gas is 50. Sure. Electric is 50. Sure. Again, these numbers are just kind of random. The point is, mark what the reality is for you. Car insurance is hefty. Home insurance, why not? Unless we're renting. We're talking about renters right now. Let's pretend we're renting. And you don't have home insurance. Oh, but you might have renter's insurance. Sweet. So we can change that. We can change it or leave it. Let's add it because I want to make a point. Sorry. Renter's insurance. And it's like, I don't know, $50, 30, $50. Sure. I don't know. Credit card debt. This is a tricky one. A lot of people have credit card debt. It totally is a thing. I almost think it could be its own video in itself. First disclaimer, look up or speak with someone about your credit card from the credit card company or the bank that you're working with, and get the info from them themselves, because a lot of banks change. A lot of banks have their own things and operate in different ways. Make sure you understand the policy about interest and minimum payments, because that's what I'm getting into. What I've put here, what it really should be called is credit card like minimum payment. Again, check with your credit card or your bank. But for me, I would always suggest with the banks that I was working with and credit card, I always will at least make my minimum payment, because in that instance, even if I carry a balance over, I wasn't getting charged interest. that was my situation that I followed up with my credit card company to know about and was accurate. So let's say your minimum payment's 25, I will always pay 25. Now we can get into later if you want to just like bump it up to 30 so that you're always maybe paying a little bit into that credit card debt and your minimum payment and not getting charged interest. That might be a good idea. But again, this is a huge disclaimer there where I'm like, you gotta follow up with your credit card people and your bank because it gets too shady too quick. And the point is to remove interest from becoming one of these that you have to pay every month. Like, pay just my interest because I don't have enough to pay the minimum or whatever it is. Though, side note, if interest has already been established for your bank and it's not going to go away even with the minimum payment, you might want to add it in here as a bolded function to be like, hey, that's like a thing I have to pay everyone. Wow, this is gonna be a long video. It just occurred to me. I'm so sorry, but also I'm not. This is important. So 25. Let's say it's 25. Groceries. Surprisingly a lot. Groceries are expensive. Let's say you're budgeting for 400 and so again, this middle section is you checking your actual statements. So you're checking your credit cards, you're checking your bank statements. And oh man, I paid $150 at the grocery store one day. And then I bought some little dilly baps here and now it's 80. And then, you have to update every single purchase. You're just going through and adding it up. And you actually had a heavy month. Wow, 440. That's crazy. Well, it's what it is. Don't worry about it. Also, that's not that crazy in real life, but for our scenario, that's just what it is. Let's say you really went out that night or that month. Car fuel maintenance. You've been carpooling or whatever. Let's say you only spend $40 on gas. Dining in cafes. Oh baby, these are the big ones. These are the big guys. Side note, when I first did this, when I first ever sat down and went through my statements, I think I was spending like that much a month. No joke. And I was honestly making that like, it was bad. It was really bad. Budgeting for me came out of necessity because I was living paycheck to paycheck and it was no bueno. So that was a good thing to reassess. Don't be afraid if it's that big or whatever, but be honest with yourself. So dining cafes, oh dang. Let's say 300 for this example. Alcohol. Buy a little bit out here, go out for the bars. You have 4 $10 beverages and you tip on every one of them. And you split some fries, I don't know. And you know what I mean? It's getting out of hand. And then you also got a nice little 6-pack of IPAs on the way home. We're up to like, I don't know. It's not out of it could also be like up like there, like with dining. Just so you know. Entertainment. Went out to a couple movies. No. Went out to a sporting event. $20, right? Whatever. Clothes and toiletries. I don't know. $20. Your dog food's expensive. Pet food's expensive. 80. You also bought him a toy. Also, that's it. Subscriptions like Netflix and stuff, whatever. That should be pretty set in stone. Like it happens every month. But still not essential. I think we just, and if you keep it, you keep it. I don't know what, I think mine is actually 14. I don't know what I'm spending $14 on. Healthcare, right. Maybe this month you didn't need any prescriptions. Nothing came up. Cool, 0. House care, I don't know. You bought something. And then other. You spent some cash somewhere. I don't know. Point is, you've gone through now your February credit card statements and bank statements and anything that has tracked money. I mean, I know down here I said some. Oops, I gotta call someone. Hold up. Pause. Okay, where was I? Right. So. Great. You've looked through your month. All of your spending's there. Your cash, right. We paid for the cash. We got our things. Okay. And let's say you have a savings account. Again, you should probably have a savings account. But that depends. Oh man, even savings accounts. Hold up. Savings accounts can even cost you money. They could have like a minimum amount requirement. So if you're under that requirement, like if it's a $300 requirement and you are in there with like 150, they could be charging you like $10 a month or something just to keep the account open. So make sure that's not happening. That's lame. If not, just like save money under your bed or something until you have 300 and can put it in. Sometimes, yeah, it changes bank to bank, but I think it's worth it to have them. I think it's great to be able to track. It's not for everybody. That's okay. But for me, it is. A common practice or a common goal for some people is to put 10% of their income away for into savings. Now that in reality is quite a lofty goal. It might not have been at one point, but for a lot of people today, it's a lot of money. As you see, most of the stuff we're spending and budgeting for is around like the $50 to $100 range, and 10% of what we budgeted to make, maybe like a $1,300 of our income, is $130. So that's a heavy portion of our income going to just savings. It is important. I just put 10% here as a little note. It doesn't add any function to it. It's just a note. Do what's comfortable. We can always reassess this. But as of right now, let's walk through our budgeted plan, right? So on our best plan, we have hourly income, our other income, our total's making $1,500. Great. That was a cool month. We spent $1,769. And so that's way more than we made. And let's say we still put away our 10%, right? Right? We all following? Even though we put money in the bank, right? We put money into savings. We're saving money. No, we actually went out almost $400. Okay. We went under $400. So what this looks like is if you actually had like, let's say a checking account, or savings account regardless, and you total them up and you're like, cool, I'm sitting at about a couple $1,000s in my bank. I'm feeling good. And you had a month like this. At the end of that month, you'll still have some money in the bank, but you will have $400 less than you did at the end of January. Do you see what you picking up what I'm laying down? This is how people go, really, really low in their bank account or under, is that their monthly plan, even their best plan, is putting them at, is putting them under. So first things first is you got to get this number to be at least zero, if not positive, where you're making more than it's going out. By the way, we didn't really get into this yet, but how you make a plan, is kind of like a guesstimate, but I would, I'm catching up where I had to pause this dumb video all the time. After you've figured out what your actual expenditures are, what you've actually spent, use that to base your plan off of. Like, cool, these are obviously going to be the same. Groceries, I spent $440, but maybe if you do this for January, you spent $300. So maybe like an average of that could go here. You kind of start to feel it out. But let's say, and then the last column here is the differences. So like the budgeted amount minus how much you made, is this, which is negative, which is this part's confusing and also not really that needed. It's more just there for fun. Like here, dining cafes, I went $150 over my budget. For car fuel and maintenance, I have $20 left I could still use. You know what I mean? That's how I read that. It's really not necessary though. If you're, it's not needed really. Really the main two columns here are the ones you want to be concerned with. Cool. And so on this column again, let's say you did put $130 into savings. Good for you. So in reality, forget your plan. In reality, you made $1,605. Great. You had an even better month than you planned for. Dope. Going down, you also spent more than you made. This is quite common actually because you're a human, you're seeing your money coming in, and it's common to get that feeling where like, you just made more money than you thought. So sometimes it leads you to justify spending other things that you might not have. It happens. It happens to the best of us. Happens to all of us. So on that same vein, you just spent $1,814. Bummer. And then you put money into savings like a good person, and you feel great. Nah, you actually went out $340. Okay. So things need to change, right? This is not sustainable. Over enough time, whatever you have in savings or whatever you have in hand will run out. Okay? That's why we reassess. So, again, the plan, to reiterate, is to do your actual amount, everything. I keep pointing at the screen. Everything in this column here, do your actual expenditures. Go back and look at every single purchase that you've made, credit card, bank statement, for February, for January. Like, just go as far back as you can. We'll start to reveal a pattern. Okay, like I always suggest at least 2 months. And then the current month you're in would be good to start actually budgeting, actually tracking your current month. And if you've made mistakes in the past, you really overspent and it sucks and you're bummed out, it's what it is. The only thing we can do now is look to the future. So doing like February, January, December, even November is just going to make a better case for April and beyond. Okay. And beyond. So now we got to reassess. Let's say we looked. So now I want to start reassessing the things that are variables, not the bolded ones. So like groceries, for instance. We spent $440 this month. Let's say in January we spent something similar. Let's say in December we spent something similar, and it's in 400, it's looking like a reasonable amount. Well, then let's keep it at 400, okay? Going forward. Car fuel maintenance, it's this just comes to the point where you have to start reassessing. So as you look through the past of your months and you see your entertainment budget or your alcohol budget is just way out of hand. It's like $200 you're spending a month, right? You could try to, this is where you start making a goal for yourself. Like, cool, could I operate having less drinks out at the bar? Could that cut it down, in half? Could, or maybe just, have a soda or something. I don't know. Could I also buy less or buy things on sale if that's even a thing? Whatever you can to get it down, and then just be reasonable with yourself. That's not what I was going to do. Because again, I don't have other months here as an example. But the pattern of what you've done in January and December should kind of inform what your tendencies are. And so kind of base it off of that. But then at some point, you got to get real with yourself. And you got to say, but what do I, like, how do I want to live? And how do I want to do this? And what's a priority of mine? Is saving money and putting money away and getting, a bit more comfortable one of your goals? Then maybe it's time to reassess. So let's just make a fantasy. Let's pretend that we've cut alcohol out of our life. Let me rephrase. Let's cut spending money on alcohol out of our life completely. Your friends can still hook you up. You know what I mean? It's 0 now. Ooh, we're saving some money and that number's dropping. Let's get it down to 0, okay? Groceries are pretty set in stone. You got to eat, you eating, got to eat. Car fuel maintenance, maybe you could take the bus. Maybe you can carpool. I don't know. Maybe you can bike. There's some options. But maybe, making less trips to other things like extra trip. I mean, we're all in quarantine right now, so there's that. Oh, I'm really time stamping this video with that. But let's say you can cut it down, just $50. Wow, look at us. Dining in cafes. This is a tough one. Eating out is so social and people want to do it, but if you could cut it down, it'll save you a lot. I mean, let's go hard. Let's imagine like your average eating out meal is like $10 plus a drink, maybe brings you up to like 13. I'm thinking like lunchtime stuff, and plus tip, you're at like 16 maybe. So 16, eating out once a week for the month, 16 times 4, what is that? 40, 60, 24, 64, right? 12, 24? Yeah. 64. Something like that. Boom. We just knocked that puppy in half. Look at that. Alcohol's 0. Entertainment, what are you really doing, right? Do you have Netflix? Could you manage not going to other things? It sucks. But just this is the point where you reconsider. Ooh, I just remembered a really good point I got to make right now. Let's cut this to 0, by the way. Okay. I want to be very clear. Budgeting like this can be a huge hit to your lifestyle. Okay, this is when you're in this kind of situation that you're so negative in the financials, it's gonna demand a lifestyle change. And so on that, you don't want to do anything too drastic. Okay, like if you were eating out a whole bunch and then you go to zero, that's just not gonna work. You're gonna go out, or it might make you feel guilty, or you're gonna be frustrated with yourself. Or let's say we weren't in this whole Corona thing, and then you actually would just be self isolating yourself for no reason, and it's not good. Okay, like the hardest thing to do, when you're trying to just like be good with money, is just destroy all the things in life that made you happy. That's not at all what I'm saying. So there's an alcohol budget, right? I put it to zero. Entertainment, I put it to zero. Eating out, I cut it in half. But is that creating like a horrible, like, are you sad now all the time? Then that's not working. The budget is supposed to create a lifestyle that you can live in and be happy and thrive. So work with yourself. Like tons of people down here in subscriptions, tons of people are like, oh, I guess I could get rid of my Netflix or my whatever, and save a bunch of money. It's like, yeah, but does that bring you joy? A little bit of Marie Kondo there. Like if on the nights where you're not going out, you can settle at home and have a little Netflix and it keeps you entertained, it keeps you happy, then it's worth it. Like you kind of have to have that little balance. The only thing is enjoying these things, excessively. It's, or at least having a plan. Like if you have a plan, then you can function within it better. And then who knows, when you've actually built up some savings, maybe you can adjust your lifestyle. But the point here is mainly living within your means and just being honest with yourself. So again, big thing is that, let's say you've been spending $400 on eating out over the month. Well, then just try to cut it in half. Like let's say your actuality was 300 every month. Dang, that's a lot. How about just try cutting it in 150? That will still feel like a huge lifestyle change for you, but it's not zero, right? So, and that might mean you will go negative for a few more months, but you're gonna start like fixing that slope, which we'll get to later on this graph over here. Uh, Personal example. I'm not gonna name names, but I had a friend who had just a crazy amount of expenditures over their income, right? And we did the hard lifestyle change. So the next month there was a huge drop in her expenditures, and income's about the same, right? And it took about 3 months for it to even out, to get used to the new lifestyle and see the progress. And then on that fourth month, we had our first month where income was over expenses, and that's that starts the growth. So even if we do make these drastic changes, recognize within yourself that it's gonna take time, and it's difficult. It's not easy, and we all go through it. But blah 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 blah. So where were we? Yeah. So don't change anything too quickly, but try your best. What were we at? I think 64. Clothes and toiletries, pretty important. Maybe you could, I don't know, shop at Goodwill. I don't know. That seems fair. Let's just keep that there. Puppy care, got to take care of them puppies. Subscriptions, I don't know. Maybe you could cut it down to one streaming service, or there's a magazine that you subscribe to that's costing just like a few dollars a month, but you don't really watch it, you don't really read it anymore. Maybe just cut it down, see what you can do. Healthcare, pretty important. So if you have it, use it correctly or whatever. House care is important, but let's see. Could we just get rid of random little cash spendings? Look at what we've done, folks. We've at least got our expenses under our total income, or our total expected income, I should say. Okay? So we could be in the positive. The only thing now is the savings, because we're plopping in 10%. Well, how much do we have left over? If we just zero this out, we have $21 left over, okay? Is there anywhere else we could play with? Well, we just dropped off a bunch of dining cafes, which means you might be eating more. So maybe there's like, I don't know. Let's add, I don't know, $50 here, but now you're not going out as much. Maybe like 25 here. You start making like a little bit of a plan for yourself. I just made it worse. I don't know. So yeah, you have to kind of get a little bit creative where you can. Maybe groceries even. I know it's rough, but maybe you've been like your groceries consist of a little bit more of like maybe non-essentials. Like again, you got to enjoy yourself, get a little chocolate every now and then, but if you could cut it down, now let's try to be crazy and say 350. Boom. Okay. Look at that. We're so close. We're so close, fam. Let's say dining and cafes, you could knock off that $4. Let's just round it down to an even 60. Boom, $100 left. So after the ideal month, okay, your expected month, 1,500 made, 1,400 spent. I got $100 left. Boom, put it into savings. That's not the 10%. I don't know what percent that is. Doesn't matter. You're putting some money into savings. Okay. Cool. Let's say January went exactly as planned. Okay, yeah, let's move over to this category now. Up here is kind of a running list of months and like a record of how the months have been doing. And these numbers directly affect this graph. The blue, as this key shows, is your income. Red is expenses. Yellow is your savings, and green is the total spent. That means it's savings plus expenses. That's all money going out, right? You spent money into the expenses, and you've put money into savings. That's money you no longer have on you. Call that total spent. So let's say in January you had a perfect month where it was like 1,500 in the bank. I'm sorry, 1,500 in your hands, 1,400 going out, 100 in savings. And then let's say in February, we have what we list there. Okay. I don't even know why it's there. We put what you actually made, what you 1804, what you actually spent. And I could actually function this out so that these things, this cell here fills this here, but I mean, you could do that too. Just do what works for you. Oh, and 130. Okay. So now if we get rid of March really quick. Oh my God. Okay, if we get rid of March really quick, now you see how the graph changed. We have our blue here. In January, we did okay. And in February, we actually made more. Good job, us, hypothetically. January, we saved a little bit. And February, we saved a little more. Man, we're killing it, right? Wow, look how good we are. But our expenses in January were down here. And then in February, we spent so much, right? So on this little month, this distance between these two, that's how much we were in the green. But then our total spent, including savings, actually looking at this, I forgot, looking at this, the green is your total spent. That's about zero. So you didn't really have that much profit because plus your savings brings you to this. I'm kind of rambling now. I should get back on track. But my point is, this isn't a working budget. You're spending at or more than you're making. So some adjustments need to be made. The only benefit about January here, the January example, or currently our budgeted plan, is that at least you're putting 100 into savings every month. Okay. So let's say, you had, I don't know, $500 in your checking account. Hold on. This is a tangent, but I think it's important. Savings, you had 0. And yeah, okay. So you're operating on these two bank accounts. I operate where all of my money coming in and coming out go through my checking account. Okay. And that doesn't necessarily mean I'm using like a debit card. I use my credit card, but I immediately, like almost immediately, maybe once a week, pay that credit card off from my checking account. So in reality, my checking account is everything's getting paid through my checking account. I do go back and check my credit card statements to see the things I purchased, but ideally, if I'm only buying things in my budget on my credit card, then when I pay it off at the month, I have money to pay it off with. So that's like my ideal use of a checking account, just to be like an avenue for money to move through. Then savings, right? So let's imagine this is December, and this is where we're sitting. Oops. Whatever. December. Let's move this over real quick. And in January, I can't spell, sorry. In January, let's say all of the money came in that we expected and all the money went out as expected. And we could have been left with 100 left over, but instead we put it into savings. Then if we had, okay guys, follow this one. If we had a perfect month, like ideally on the budgeted amount column, I keep pointing at the screen, budgeting amount column, then at the end of January, we should still have 500, right? Because all the money came in from our income and all the money went out. This shouldn't change really. Like, yes, it grew to at least 2,000 at one point when we made all of our money, but then we spent our expenses, which happened, and put money into savings, and it's okay. Except now we're here, right? Do you see where this is going? February. All right, we have the same month. We're following our budget like bosses, all right? Boom, now we're at 200. Watch me go. Okay, you see this? That's the plan. That's the overall arc of this story here. Of this, oh my God, 50-minute story. This is way too long. No one's going to watch this. Too bad. I got to wrap this up. My goodness. So, checking account's working for you. Savings account will hopefully grow over time. If you can manage like, putting 50 into your savings, and then you have 50 left over, then this would look a little different, right? This would start looking like this. 50. And by the end of this month, you'd have 50 left over that you didn't allocate, right? That could just sit in your checking account still. And then next month, you'd have 100. And next month, you'd have 600. And next month, you'd have, oh my God, 150. And next month, you had 650. Do you see what I mean? Now you can even start growing your base checking account, like the level that it's kind of sitting at, which we'll get into later. Wow, this could be like 8 videos, I swear. I'm so sorry. What have we not covered? Cool. So, moral of the story, look through all of your finances, put them out accurately right here. Okay? Do this for a few different months from the past to start showing a pattern. When you have that pattern, reflect and see if there's any changes you can make in this one. This is the budgeted amount. Your goal is to make your income and your minus your expenses, minus your savings, be a positive number, okay? With some money left over. Or in the best case, worst, as worse as it can go, the zeroed out number, okay? Then at least you're putting money into savings, so you're seeing some growth. I'm just trying to remember if I didn't catch anything. That's the gist of it, really. And then you just have to follow it. So let's imagine like this is the game plan we've set for ourselves, and let's start a brand new month. Well, okay, let's imagine all of those ones already got paid, like at the beginning of the month. Some people leave them in, I've noticed. That's fine. You could do that. I like to still input them when they happen on my credit card or my bank statement, because then I know they happened. Like, what if one month I check a bank statement and like my electricity never got billed? Like, what happened? Should I be concerned? What's the what? That's why I don't put it in until it happens, until it actually processes on my bank statement. But you do you. So in groceries, you're going to groceries and you're eating, and man, you've been really just trying your hardest and you were able to cut down. Dang, good for you. You got it down to like 300, even though last one was like 400 and you already planned for a less. You did even better. Car fuel maintenance. Dude, you stuck to it, 25, fair. I don't know how much you're paying for gas. Dining in cafes. You know what? You went so hard. I'm imagining like a perfect month right now. You went so hard. You didn't go out at all. I mean, dining right now is actually banned, so whatever. But you went out one time and kind of just like really, really ate out. Like you just were like, cool, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to do the thing once a month, like just one big one. And it was like $30. Dang, man. Whew, you went hard. But you're still under budget, so look at you. Alcohol, we still kept to it. 0. Entertainment, 0. Toys, closed toiletries. You're doing great. You didn't need any stocked up on anything. You're at 0. Good job. Puppy care, gotta handle that puppy. Subscription, kept it because we're not gonna go insane. Healthcare, again, I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. House care, didn't need any light bulbs. We're okay. Or plungers. And we didn't pay any things. Income. Let's say, we're getting shorted some shifts. We're not getting the shifts we normally get, So it's a little bit less than we thought. But maybe you have some tip money. I don't know. Maybe whatever situation. It's not the most ideal. Or maybe it is. I don't know. For this example, let's just say 300 and your and let's say your other income is, I don't know, 100 or 0. Let's say 0. What do we just do? Good. So as we're going, if your income to expenses ratio is this close, I would not suggest putting in money into savings like at the beginning of the month, because you don't know how much you're going to have at the end. At the end of this month, at the end of this example, oops, what did I just do? You're only sitting with $20 left over, but you did it. Like you did it. You followed something through and you stuck through it. Yeah, you got a little shorted on your money, but those months will happen. And when they happen, you want to be, you want to kind of be prepared for it. So you paid your expenditures. You got $20 left over. It's your call. Put it in a savings. Start that savings account. But if the savings account's going to cost you money to even maintain and you're not even at that, dude, just leave it in your checking, right? So we're over here. We don't even have a savings account, let's say. All right. At least now we start this next month, 520. Boom. We're growing, okay? Like that's the goal. And let's say next month you kill it even further and you're I don't know what you're doing, but you're able to save money, you're able to put away, you even make some changes. Hey, you know what? Let's even talk about bigger changes. Like maybe you can move to another roommate or a roommate situation. You even live back with your parents. Okay. Oh man. I'm already recognizing, like, yes, there's a lot of what happens here that has to do with privilege and the socioeconomic situation you're in. I 100% recognize that. And all I'm advocating is use the resources available to you. If you have parents that are letting you, that would be able to like pay a cheap rent to live with them, it might be in your best interest to live with them. If you have another living situation you can live at that would be cheaper, or another alternative to driving, maybe you could save money. Like these are all questions. If you have that opportunity, perhaps consider it. Yeah. So and not everything's going to work for everybody. Yeah, it's just, trying to figure it all out for yourself. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Wow, this is like an hour-long video. Yeah, and then just keep tracking things as they go. March, as let's say you make money. What's really fun is what I really enjoy about this is the gamification of it. Like I try to get this graph looking like looking golden. Like let's say we start making some good money. We got those expenditures way down, and our savings are doing just fine. I don't know, $100. Oh, see the function. I accidentally deleted the function. I'm sorry. Hey, if you need a function, highlight 2 cells, go to this function over here, this little symbol that looks like the Gmail symbol, but over. I don't know. Functions, and do sum. There's a whole mess of them in here, but I like to just do sum and just turn this little guy into a minus sign. Wait, no, I actually do want it to be a sum. Just kidding. That's how I do difference over here. Anyway, now they're added. Let's say we had a similar month. I don't know, 100. Oh my God, the function. Normally I copy and paste this stuff. Don't worry about it. Oh, hey, also side note, if you have just numbers here that you want to make money up in this corner over here, top left corner, you can press this little money button, format as currency. Now it's a currency. Hey, that font you use looks different than what's on here because Conforta is a beautiful little font and we like it for aesthetics. Okay. So Conforta, boom. Now it looks pretty. Anyway, now this is the goal we're looking for, is that big field of blue, that your income is towering over the red expenditures and the yellow savings, which by the way, if you want to add savings to expenditures, it's right here in the green. So you can always just try to shoot over the green. And we just build this whole thing of blue. And can you imagine you keep this thing going January, February, all the whole year, and you get to see how you progressed. It's just, that's like the gamification part of it that I love. So yeah, I probably forgot a bunch of things. Oh, it's almost an hour. I probably forgot a bunch of things. There's a lot more to it. You could do. I bet I'm gonna get like a bunch of questions. I don't know. This tool really worked for me. Being able to sit down at the end of every day, open up my bank statement, and I did it every day. I just added whatever I spent. And also, when I went out to the stores or something, I wouldn't just like do my normal shopping. I open this up on Google Drive and I on my phone or something, and I'd say, "Oh, I see I only have $20 left for I don't know, alcohol." You know, if that was my budget, then I'm limited to that. Like I made it my goal, like, cool, gotta stick to this number. But then again, things happen, accidents happen, emergencies come up, and for that you got to be prepared to move some things around if you can. Ooh, we didn't even get into security savings. Oh, I'm not rushing myself. We got more time. If you're already in it for this far, then I'm sorry. But also, let's get into some other things. Just real quick. I should really have made this like a bunch of videos. Guys, I'm not used to this. I don't know what I'm doing. Down in my savings here, it says security savings. What is that? That's actually quite a common term used in finances. Experts suggest that you have a security savings. And this is not just like your average savings account. This is not like savings towards a specific goal. This is savings for an emergency. Actually, right now, the current corona pandemic could be seen as an could be seen as a pandemic. 10 seconds. Where was I? Okay. Sorry, keep pausing. All right, security savings. So, blah, blah, blah. Experts suggest gotta have security savings for when emergencies happen. And that number can vary depending on a lot of things. It's more of like your comfort level. I'd consider myself now not I'm in a what should I say? I'm in a comfortable space. I'm not in a great space. So my what am I trying to say? There's not a lot of security built into like my job or my living situation. You know, it's like I'm dealing with more variables. So for that, I would be a person to build a much larger security savings in the case of something happening, like you get injured or you lose your job or life just happens, and you need to have something to back you up on. I would be a person to carry maybe a larger security savings than others who maybe have a bit more security built into their lifestyle. So some people say for a security savings, to have, let me just, security savings to be 2 to 3 months of your monthly expenses is the thought. So over here in your budgeted amount, if you're spending about $1,400 a month, well then 3 times of that would be 4,200. So that's like a savings goal. You know what I mean? Like that's how much. Like if, let's say we have a checking account. Ooh, this would be fun. I don't know why I had to write account. I didn't really. Savings. And let's even say we had a security savings. Okay. Get rid of that. Sorry. We have 3 accounts now. Okay, let's imagine we have 2 different savings accounts. Or real talk, security savings could be under your bed or a jar. Like, and this is an actual savings account. And you're working with, $1,000, and then you do your whole income and outcome thing, whatever, expenditures, and it's moving around, but you're putting money into savings. I might suggest putting money into this first and letting this grow over time, hoping to reach this goal here, like hoping to reach 4,200. And if your life, hasn't hasn't changed drastically, you're still spending what you're spending, you're still making what you're making, and so you're still kind of in that situation, then maybe you get to the spot earlier. If things change, you can adjust what your goals are. But yeah, Like that would be your security savings. So in case of emergency, you'll have at least 3 months you could live off of without crazily drastically, changing your lifestyle too much. You can cover your bases pretty much. For some people, it might be 6 to 9 months, which is a crazy amount. Think about that. Like that's a lot of money to have saved just for emergencies. But they might be living in a different situation. They also might be preparing for something else. They might be preparing for like I don't know, maybe taking like a couple months off to go travel or something. I don't know. Point is, it's important to have something in the back that is there for you when emergencies happen, like we're totally living in right now. So if you can, please build up a security savings, even if you don't give it a month like amount, like 1 month of my monthly expenditures or 2 months of it. If you just make it like $1,000, it might not cover you for more than a month, but it's something to have that you're just not going to touch ever in case of it's an emergency. That'll still be better than most people. So I highly encourage building a security savings. And when you find a point that you feel comfortable, maybe start including this as well. I mean, honestly, even if you could just put $10 in a month while you're doing security savings work, it adds up. It really does add up. And it doesn't feel like it will, but oh my God, it does. And really, these things you should just never touch. Like, money never comes out of them. Really, money coming in, coming out should all be through a checking account in my system. That's that. So that's what the security savings means. I don't think I forgot to touch on anything else. Credit card debt. Remember, talk to your professionals. Just see what lifestyle changes you're open to making. The biggest point of all of this, oh my God, I just time stamped this at the very end. I think I said it at the beginning too, which is just that you don't know how bad it is until you've tracked it. Money not tracked, or like money, what am I trying to say? Money that you don't track is money lost, okay? Money that you do not track is money lost. If just by the act of going through and seeing what your budget is, you will become more aware of the money you're spending. You'll become more aware of the money you're making. And I am not talking some woo-woo like mental thing, like mentality, law of attraction thing. I'm saying this is just plain numbers. You get to see on the daily how much you're making, how much you're spending, and you can reassess. And what this does for me is it makes everything a choice. It makes it more choice, like more choices that I have. I can be like, great, do I want to go out to a fast food place right now? It will cost me only like $6, but that's so much of my dining and cafe budget, And also, would I rather keep that $6 and have a smaller expenditures over the month and be able to put that into savings and get to my goals sooner, Okay, guys, and we did not even talk about retirements or 401ks or investing or other things, credit card debt, dealing with that, dealing for travel plans. Oh my God, there's so much. The point is, this is a very basic, very simple, and I think kind of fun way to budget. It does put all of the action back into your hands. It does take a lot of commitment. It's a hard thing to commit to. But if you can make it just like a part of your daily routine, I think it could really help. Yeah. So this link of this thing will be in the video in the descriptions of the video. And, you can ask questions and stuff. I can stream as well from this thing. So I could maybe do like a stream thing and answer a bunch of questions if that comes up. Hopefully this helps. If not, that's cool too. I meant for this to be 30 minutes and it's like an hour and 8 minutes. Oh my God. Anyway, that's that. Yeah, have fun budgeting. Hopefully this helps. Also, if you want to get into this deeper or you want like help, kind of like setting yourself up, just hit me up, because I assume only people I know are going to see this. Oh, my face is in the way. I was all writing all this stuff and my stupid face is there. I was writing, hold up. This over here. Oh, it's not even there anymore. You can't even see it. That's so dumb. I was right over here, guys. I was writing numbers like, oh, damn, that sucks. I didn't know that wasn't coming in. Anyway, what was I saying then? Yeah. So like, okay, just reiterating this really quick. If you had 500 in your account and uh money, money comes in through this checking account and comes out into the checking account. So overall, you'd be back at zero, and your savings are only going up by like $10 every month. Well, then at the end of if this is January, at the end of February, you'll still only have 500 because the exact amount that came in went out. No big deal. But since you have money allotted for your savings, this now goes to 20. This now goes to 30. And like, yes, your checking account doesn't get any bigger, but you all start creating growth. And that's where I was talking about the security savings as well. Same example. I said all the things. You just couldn't see the visual. So sorry. I'm new to this. Anyway, I hope that helped. I probably missed a bunch of things I'm gonna figure out later, but I'm not gonna watch this. It's like an hour long. Goodness. Y'all can watch this. Cool. That's that. Is it? Yeah. So you want to see something crazy? This room is actually quite dark, so I just hung this like it's like a headlamp to light my face. Now it's all dark. Maybe I didn't need it. I don't know. Is that it? Okay, I guess that's it. Bye. Or yeah, bye.